Okay, I don't know these rankings, right? I found them pretty difficult all around because of how, especially kind of in the top 10, just like mixing them up because of how inconsistent everybody was.
Okay, now just wait a second. Wait a second.
Waiting.
Yeah.
Are you trying to change things?
I'm going to go back and read your original message. Okay, never mind. I may have thought that this was like a season power ranking.
I was wondering some of your rankings why you did it that way.
Because I didn't want to be too recency biased with some of them. All right, so that's just it. We'll just flow with it. We'll see. It'll average itself out. Don't worry about it.
So
it's going to be a few shocking takes from CJ.
Yeah, there's going to be some.
I thought this was. I for some reason I remember, like you said, individual. I just assumed it was like season, like wrap it up. Did you not say that?
Well, I didn't give you the entire spiel like I did to everybody else because I was like just asking you first when you could do it. Yeah. And then I was like sent you a list so that you like.
But I clarified with you, Yummy, because I'm a great guest.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, that's what
Scrub probably did it too because he's also a great guest.
Yeah. Well done.
I didn't remember that, but fair play.
Actually, did you tell me in like a voice chat or something like Super Lockie was? I have you in my head like Super Lockie was keen for a power rankings like a season or something, or is that? I don't know. Anyway, welcome everyone.
I definitely talked about Super Lockie at one point going on. I think on the weekend. I think I said it on the broadcast how Super Lockie keeps going on about how he's the best player in those games. So, yeah.
True. Anyway,
you can talk a little bit more about it. But. This is the spring rankings. We should do like an awards type show after the major and worlds for a bit of fun, like who's best defender, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Scrub, did you guys have any difficulty with the ranking? I'm sure it was a lot easier with you for you as players, but
yeah, I did. It was like kind of hard because I feel like no one was really that good. So there was no like, it wasn't easy to like, order the teams, like who's best, who's the worst. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you want to do a live tweet, Yummy, so we can retweet it and get some exposure?
Fine.
I'll retweet it.
The best OC player rankings of all.
Yeah, this is a bit of a throw from me, but I just don't know why. Like, it makes sense that we're doing spring rankings, but I just kind of thought season over, like, we just, you know what I mean? We wrapped it up last week.
I should have sent you the entire spiel, but the reason I didn't is because before I proceeded, I wanted to know what day you were available to do this.
Yeah. We just didn't get to the next step. Yeah. It's all good. It happens.
We're going to need some incredible explanations from you, CJ.
Well, obviously you'll know my explanation in that it was for the
No, you got to pretend like you know what was going on the whole time.
Tango outside the top 10.
He just didn't have it in him.
When push came to shove, he could only do it once. Yeah, I did Luna. I did win my CS game. I'm now DMG rank, everyone. I'm on my way to global.
On the way to global.
Yeah.
So am I. I'm like the one under Gold Nova. How far will it? How long
Silver.
Yeah.
Silver Elite Master.
Yeah, that one. I'm pretty close to Gold Nova though, but I've only just started playing.
That's all right then. That's all right.
I played Valorant before CS, but CS
you got the aim mech, the mechanic.
CJ can tell you how washed I am at CS:GO now.
Can't wait to see Luna 22nd. Yeah, well, that's kind of where Luna sits.
Well, this is only top 20, so...
Oh, no! It's even worse.
I'll tell you what, CJ's done Luna in a bit dirty to get his entire season ranking. He had a great split, Luna. He had a great split. That's all I'll say.
Honorable mention. Luna, you get my honorable mention, okay? Respect.
Sure, everybody do an honorable mention before you even know who the top 20 is. As a note, I've kept a complete surprise to these guys. I think it's like reasonably obvious, but it's a surprise to them. So who's everyone's honorable mention? I think Amphis, you had Hoey close to your top 20.
Yeah, he put in some great performances. Yeah, I think he's pretty hard clear on that team. I wish he wasn't leaving the region, but
He seemed like a nice guy when I watched his interview. He seemed really
very
nice.
humble. Very humble.
That's rare.
He's almost like annoyingly humble though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh no,
Too
we're
much.
so bad.
Yeah.
This region's so bad. Oh, I couldn't make it in North America. They're so good. Like, I
it
don't
was-
want to hear it.
I think it was at the end of Friday or early on Saturday when we were like absolutely awful. He was saying, "Nah, we can never beat Power. Like no matter what, we can never beat him." And it was just like, you definitely could have.
Yeah, he was kind of like, this region's so bad, but then was like, what about the top? And he's like, oh, no, there's no possible world we could beat them. Like, what do you mean then? Are we good or are we bad?
He was even saying how much better his teammates were, and like he was hard carrying every series.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to give an honorable mention before we get into it to Matro, because I put him.
Oh.
I maybe moved some things, but I put him at 20. I put him in my top 20 because of how good he was in the he didn't even play the first series they lost, so he has a better win-loss ratio than Tango this set.
I mean, Tango is playing the champ Sunday.
Yeah, Tango is playing the best team.
Yeah, but Matro took a bad team that couldn't even qualify the first event and got them top 6. So
yeah, I mean,
minions are actual freaks.
No, they're actually not bad in the rank scene. But,
watch.
like when it comes to RLCS, they're not the brightest. But maybe that'll change because I'm pretty sure they're all young.
You got some kind of honorable mention before you even know who's a top 20 scrub?
I reckon negative. Negative. He does it again. Like split after split, just takes some average bummy players to the top 8. Like he just does it with ease as well. Great player.
I think you've done well there. Nobody he's not in the top 20.
Yeah,
so it's good as an honorable mention. However, one person did put him in the top 20. So
I'll go one.
I don't think that was me.
I thought you were Luna, but
I want to give an honorable mention to Zen.
Okay.
Just because, and Zen. Oh, can I get two? I'm going to give an honorable mention to Zen and Ben, the dynamic duo. They cracked into a top 8. Bow's a freak. He'll be in there next season. Look out for him.
I'll be honest. I feel like that's kind of insulting to Zen and Ben, who are players that should be like top 8 every time and top 6. To be like,
not
they got a
anymore
top
though,
8.
surely.
No, I think they still should.
They should
like,
be
top 8.
I'm sure their expectations are that.
Top 8 minimum.
They should be top 8. I think I could unretire and make top 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's you, CJ. You're different.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've came back with the right source, with the same type of mech.
I think if they put in, they could. I think they might. I don't know if they're hard stuck in certain ways or not adapting the way they should, but I feel like they should be better. Like Zen has popped off in so many series this season, and when I say in series, I mean like individual games. But they're like so spaced out, that it's crazy. I don't know.
I don't even know if he plays anymore.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
Yeah, I don't think either of them do that much.
Anyway, honorable mentions out of the way, Yummy.
Cool. As a note, here are all the rankers.
The what?
The rankers.
Okay.
They could be the other one as well. Most of them are. So, if you have problems with the lists, make sure to DM these folks. I did also ask Jake, and he didn't respond. So
good. He's actually left for the season. His year's done.
He just as soon as the season's over, he's off Discord. He's not responding to any messages ever again. He just he completely disappears. But he's always fun because he's always got like a strong opinion and a very different opinion in terms of like rankings to other people that I've experienced. So.
Yeah, like his last one was the top 3 were all equal, which was incorrect. Maybe that's why he didn't bother giving a new one.
Because we yelled at him so much on the team PR. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Let's get started now that everybody is here and ready to go. Number 20 is going to be Laxon, thanks to CJ. He's been at 16. Which we know is 16 for the season, which makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very disappointing this split, which is why I think last split we had him around maybe 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there. I mean, was it maybe 14?
Yeah, he was top 15 somewhere.
Yeah, he was up there, and he's dropped down a little bit in my rankings for the season. Which is probably that's no. Which way do you want me to take this, Amphis? Do you want me to pretend like these are my split points, or do you want me to talk about why I've got him as?
I will say, CJ, before Amphis answers, none of your specific rankings, except maybe this one, actually change the outcome of any of the rankings.
I think
if
with
at
that,
most
then
it changed
just
it by
pretend.
one.
Yeah, I think just give like the actual reasoning and change them.
Okay,
Probably.
you know, as I said, you know why I put him 16. If it's a whole season, he was a lot better in the first two splits. This was his worst, and Luna really stepped up. Shout out Luna this split.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I ranked Laxon the lowest on their team. Other people did rank Luna lowest, but for me that was a surprise that I would rank Laxon the lowest out of everybody, but also out of that team.
Yeah, I don't know. It just hurt me to put him outside the top 20, to be honest. Just
that was a bit harsh.
Yeah, but I think it's also very fair. Like,
yeah, no, it kind of is. He had a shocking split. Like,
because you look at him and he's so naturally good. But I don't know. There's something wrong with him, especially this split. He was incredibly disappointing. I think it might just be nerves on game day, but I was very impressed with Luna.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a single great series. I'm not going to say a single good series, a single great series. Good moments. Because Laxon's meant to be like at least a guy that pops off every now and again, if nothing else. And he didn't even do that on stream.
He hit a few clips, but it wasn't. It was few and far between. Yeah.
I don't know, just a.
But this is a compliment to him that we're expecting him to be a lot higher, and we think he should be. So he should take this the right way if he's watching.
Yeah, basically look at CJ's rank and say that's where he's meant to be. Actually, it actually kind of
should be lower. Yeah, higher than that. It's just that he should be around. I'd say Laxon at peak Laxon right now is maybe
11.
12. Yeah, 11, 12.
Yeah.
I still think it's actually kind of nice that you have your season rankings because it actually does kind of give a comparison on like
balances
recent form.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It gives recent form. So like you can see Laxon's gone down compared to the rest of his season. Other people might be higher than CJ's rank to say that they've had a good split. You know, I'm assuming Luna is higher than you would have put him in the past. You put him 20, so yeah. Still behind Laxon. All right, let's go to 19. And that's going to be Pagsy, which feels low. But in the end, like, this is just seemingly where he belongs.
I don't know, he's nothing crazy like on Serrani. Like, he does his job well. He's improved a lot, but, you know, like, 19th, 18th, 17th, like, around where I think he should have been for the split.
Yeah, it's just hard based on how... I guess Serrani are up there, but you know, if you're gonna put, say, Finn pretty high, like you can't put them all really high, otherwise it's like, well, hang on a minute, were they dominating? But they weren't. And Pagsy's kind of just a role player, so he has to drop down to balance it out for mine. And that's kind of been Serrani for the entire season. Obviously, this time was a little bit different, bringing in Fadesy, which was his rank might be a bit harsh for mine for the whole season, but. I don't know. Pags, he's just a role player. You need him. He elevates his team, but he's got two players that are better individually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why I put him so low. I think if it is a different player that is just slightly better than that team could be so much better and consistently at the top. Because I think Finn is incredible. I think
he's the best player outside the top.
Yeah.
10.
Like by far as well.
Yeah, clearly.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it's only fair if I think Finn is that good, and then Fades also this split played incredibly.
This regional.
Yes, more specifically in the third, but I think it needs to be dragged down a little bit with one of those players at least.
Yeah.
I actually kind of added up my rankings of Serrani, Himpolice, and Merge. I felt all three of them, you know, based on the results of the series of the split, had very similar results. And so, yeah, rankings wise, Pagsy kind of balances out maybe a higher Finn, like you said. Did you guys feel the same way? Do you think even though we power ranked Serrani higher than everybody else, that Merge and Himpolice at the end of the split, do you think that they had a better split overall, given their first two losses?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather Serrani split over like him polices or merges, just because of like they actually show that they can do it. Like they can actually take down top teams, whereas him police and merge like still didn't really do it. Still just the same, just beating the team they should.
Yeah, it's like, would you rather have your first regional, you know, the best one, or your last regional? I feel like they'd rather have the last one. It shows, especially with Fades, how he performed. It shows that there's something there in that team. Whether it's the same roster next season, but certainly individually, they're on the right path. So, I think they were the team that was the best of the rest. Come on.
Yeah, and also I think all the people who did the power rankings are in the chat. If one of themselves reveal who, if they were the ones who ranked them 24 or 14, then they can do that. I'm not gonna start witch hunts.
Out them.
I'm not gonna out them unless
sometimes we do that.
None of them are as bad as what Gus's were last split with Fever number 1. So.
I don't wait for Gus to come up in his rankings. I want to go in on him actually.
All right, number 18 is going to be Cobbo. So Cobbo just edging out, and interestingly enough, I was the highest one on this rankings to put Cobbo. I felt he had a really good split. I felt he was consistent and often just a little bit better than Caleb, so that gives you a little bit of clue where I put Caleb. But I had Cobbo above Caleb. Other people seem to disagree, though.
Yeah, I mean, I went purely off when I played them, because I don't really watch their series other than like when I'm playing them. And when I play Merge, like they just lose their fingers, and like Cobbo's like a big one of that, where he just like isn't good when we play them like at all. So he's just, I don't know, it's just why my ranking's a bit harsh on him.
He's I feel like he's got the most, I guess, I don't know, window of how he can play. Like he's pretty inconsistent. Like when he's on, it's actually crazy. He looks like Gus. Like you could swap the nameplates out there. He's got the mech, but when he's off, he's off. And I don't know. Mine was obviously the whole season. I agree though. I think this split he was pretty good. He was not like a clearly the third player on the team. So I think there's room for improvement for Cobbo. I'd like to see him keep grinding and.
Well, he's been around for ages. Like,
but he's bringing out the mech now. Like before, he had like express flip resets. You know, like in the back corner for no reason in the right Amphis. But you know, now he's sort of like pulling out some mech when he needs to.
Yeah, no, I've always not minded Cobbo. I think he's always been pretty close to the top. He's always been like relatively consistent. He's had a few pretty shocking series, but I don't know. I thought especially this split, he's been probably as consistent as Gus, to be honest. I think Caleb's had the biggest drop-offs, and that's why I thought he deserves a pretty high ranking compared to previous splits this season. He's been pretty dodgy.
Yep.
Any input as well, Scrub, on Cobbo? Like why he's not? Like why is it? He been around for ages. He
told you he's a bot when they play.
Yeah, I didn't really watch them, so like I'm going off when we played them, and when we played them, like Cobbo was pretty horrendous. So mine's probably not really valid because all of you are saying he had a good split, but I didn't really watch their matches. Yeah, definitely not against us, but
yeah, I will say I did that for a lot of my rankings, like in the future. Like
I think that's the true of everybody.
Good,
like you know, this one of the good ones I think is Cobbo and their rating of is it Cobbo? No, a 95x and their rating of Fever is always really high because Fever pops off against them and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's good though. Like I think it's good with a good mix, and then myself and Yummy are like the overall.
Yeah,
you know, watching all
what's
the
happened
games
on stream.
But I liked it as a player, like having being on the pitch and knowing who's like more annoying to play with. Like you have a different perspective. So
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes watching you don't actually understand like what somebody's achieving sometimes.
Yeah, like my whole career, Yummy.
I talked because there was nothing else to talk about. I didn't really know what I was achieving
either, though.
I talked all the time about how you're playing fast and putting the pressure on and coming out of the blind
Scrub's
spot.
come in and just taken my role, Scrub. I love that from you.
Don't give me your role.
Scrub, the budget CJ, let's go.
Scrub, it's unrewarding. You're not going to get the banana head. Oh, look at Hunter's triple flip reset. But you're in there doing the work and you elevate. You make that team that team.
Don't give me your role. Don't give me your role, CJ.
You are that role, and you know it.
CJ
Even
too.
Prof used to tell me last season that you are my role. You are just a display. He used to say it.
And that's why Prof's gone.
He was in the
We
replays.
didn't-
You were watching my scrims. You were watching my replays.
Just do what CJ does. Yeah. Not watching EU or anything.
Just with more mechanics though. Like now it's handy. Like you can actually do something when you have the ball. It's pretty cool.
Could whip out the mech every once in a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get back to
Back to number 17 then. That's going to be Caleb. So Caleb does eke out Cobbo. CJ, I'm assuming. Would you have ranked Caleb below Cobbo for this split if you were thinking of this split?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to have Gus and Caleb next to each other like every rankings we ever did, but now I think it was Amphis. You say he's sort of fallen off this split.
Well, I was rated 13. So.
Oh, maybe.
I'll be honest. When we switched the slide, I was gobsmacked with that.
But no, I used to have him 13. Like, it used to be like Gus and Caleb, like 12, 13, 13, 14. But I don't know. I just don't see Caleb doing as much or that split. So he's dropped down a lot in my rankings. Like now do I have Cobbo 20? Like around 21 maybe. So then it's now feels like it's like Gus up here and then sort of Caleb and Cobbo. It's like a triangle, you know? Caleb and Cobbo sort of the same level.
Can you explain yourself, Amphis?
Yeah, what's going on?
What is...
I'm having a read and I'm trying to.
Yeah, did I make a mistake? Did I enter it in wrong or something?
No, I'm counting and it looks like it's on me. Slightly. We'll take 50-50 blame, I reckon.
Yeah, I'll take some of the blame, even though that's exactly what I said.
Genuinely, don't know what's happened there. Scrub, what do you think about Caleb?
Oh, I think he improved a lot since the start of the season, but he definitely... I don't really know. Like, I'm only going from when I played them, and he's pretty shocking, but, you know, like, I've definitely seen him play well. But
you had him above Cobbo.
Yeah, I mean, I just went, like, the generic route, like, you know, like, Cobbo's probably worse, like, than Caleb, then Gus. Like, that's just how I went, even though they're all pretty, like, equal when we played them.
Yeah. I think that's the expectations. I think I've definitely gone in this one to try and defy some of my expectations, or at least challenge myself to not just go, oh, you know, Caleb should be better than Cobbo. Let's just put him above.
It's also hard to like, go from. I feel like a lot of the rankers here, go for, you know, sort of individual, not even a performance, but just like her as an individual player where they should be, and then you kind of put them there. You kind of forget, or it's hard to drop players that you might, as you said, think highly of individually if they're not performing, which is kind of Caleb. Like Caleb is always, even in ranked, he's so annoying. He should be up there, should be better. He's like Laxon, honestly.
Yeah. He annoys me because I've talked about Caleb a lot since the end of last season, like the third split of last season, as a player who should be making that next level. And he always kind of, he'll have a good event. He'll actually have one good entire event. And then kind of, I'm thinking, okay, he's in it now. He's figured it out. And then the next event, he's gone again. So it's really frustrating having like expectations on Caleb in particular. All right.
Facts.
Number 16 is going to be Misty. I think there was a kind of very big split on Misty in terms of the battle between Misty and Mock. Obviously,
21.
Misty has lost that battle.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's putting him 21.
21's harsh.
That is pretty harsh.
We need someone in the chat to come out there.
Yeah, look, I can't even talk about me. I don't want to talk about Misty. He's just he frustrates me. I want to see, honestly, him police frustrate us, Yami. Obviously, we had that cast with them in the last regional, but they show glimpses, him police. I know this is kind of irrelevant now the season's over, but they show glimpses of just, they know how to attack. Like, this is nice. And then they just go back to the most, like, stock standard Rocket League. I know Shaw's doing chat. Yeah. It's just uninspiring to watch. And I feel like when they change it up, it's almost too late. It's like at the end of a game when they're 2-0 down. Then they change it up and it's like, there it is. Like, there's the him police we know and love. Like, they're slinging it around. They've got the pace. But then the next game starts again and they're just sitting in net for 4 minutes. Like, I don't know.
I think Misty
should be better.
The epitome of that too, because he has some of the best plays, and then the next play he's like completely whiffing the ball, own goaling. He's had some really high highs. If you only took his best moments, and I guess you could say this, and this is probably the problem with a lot of players in OCE outside of the top 9, he would be a top 10 player, but he's got more worse moments than I think anybody else in the top 20.
I don't know. I don't know about in the top 20. Maybe like, but that's the only reason I gave Mock the edge over Misty is because I feel like Mock was way more consistent than Misty, whereas Misty just sometimes wasn't even a player.
When is the last time Misty actually popped off though?
When they won the regional on Dial.
Yeah.
That's the last time he like fully popped off, I swear.
Yeah.
But when's the last time he even like had a glimpse of being very, very good? I swear it's been so long.
Oh, real
like,
little
that's
glimpses.
The whole... yeah, but like the whole stereotype, well, like the thing that is always said with Misty is that he can really pop off. But I swear it just hasn't happened for so many months now.
He always tries to be, for the long time for Misty, he's always tried to be an actual player who plays off the team more than anything else. Especially when Fiber was on the team, right? Because he was like the only person getting into a pass opportunity. Everybody else on the team was sitting back to play the old current Himpley style. And it's interesting because Misty hasn't been doing that as much this split.
Fact.
So he's not even like, he's not playing as a team and he's not.
Yeah, I've gone away from the narrative, as Amphis said. Like, we used to run that. We ran that into the ground, the whole, like, you know, he was once the best player in the region for a regional. But now I think this is kind of like just where he seems to be sitting, which is like, I don't know. It's just where he's been for a whole season now, sort of around this rank. You know, 12 to 16.
I don't think anybody's expecting him to be a top 10 player in any event, really, coming into them.
He could be on the
I think
Himpley.
we were expecting that though. Like,
could be, but
at the
nobody's
start of the
expecting
season,
it. Yeah.
I think a lot of people would have predicted Misty in probably the top 12 area, maybe.
Yeah.
I had Shaw's always as like the man on that team though to elevate.
Yeah. Probably more so now than the start of the season.
I think if Himpley's if they were ever to succeed, I think Misty would be the guy that would need to step up for them and like play well rather than Shaw's. I think Misty needed to step up, and if anything, I think he's gone backwards a bit since the start of the season. I think he might have gotten slightly worse.
Yeah. I mean, especially on that team, you kind of have like Mock, who should be doing essentially the scrub role, essentially the Duke CJ role, but he should be creating a lot of space. He's very fast. You have Shaw's, who's a great finisher and great with the open space. So Misty can be a big enabler on that team, and maybe isn't getting enough off Mock, or maybe he's just trying to be too much of a, I don't know, support player or something.
The annoying thing with him, police, when you're ranking them individually, is that like I'm sort of just putting them there based on their team performance. Like, there's still a very good team in the region. They're always, you know, that 4th, 5th around the mark. So you have to rank them high. But when you think about each player individually, I just struggle to like actually pick them apart because I just don't. I don't know. I don't like how they play. I don't find it very inspiring. But they're just good at beating the teams around them and always being around the mark.
Yeah.
All right. Well, number 15 is going to be his teammate, as you might see. I think I put Mock just 1 point above him, just for like a little extra consistency more than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's more or less the same with Misty, but I think it's just more expected with Mock nowadays. I don't think we've seen Mock pop off ever. I think he's had a few very poor series, but never. I don't think to the degree of Misty. I think this is the definition of a like not a mid player, but like the 14th-ish rating. I don't know. I don't think he'll ever get higher or like breach into that top 12. But I don't think he'll ever drop lower as long as he keeps grinding. So I don't know. I think.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So he's basically like, is Mock ever a player you're going to expect to be able to carry a series?
I feel like he used to have this thing about him that, like, you know, I don't know. I feel like that from the young fellas would rate Mock pretty highly back when we were looking like Sicky, Mock, Hunter. Like, Mock was kind of like, oh, he's going to be that guy. But I never really saw him. I guess it's similar to you, Amphis. He's kind of just doing his thing. Like, he was never taking series by the scruff of the neck. He was kind of just there. And he's got mechanics. He's a good player, but he doesn't. I don't know if it's like he doesn't know how to impact games or something like that. Because I feel like he sort of knows how to do everything. Like he's not a bot. He doesn't have no mech or something. He's not washed, but he just doesn't do enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there's actually... I brought that up because I think there's a good separation here between 15 and 14 for me. For me, Fades carried the third event. Fades was not necessarily carried, but he was their best player in the third event when they got that top 3. And outside of everybody in the top 13, I feel like can either carry a series, like be the best player on the team in a series, or has really extraordinary results. So Fade is like the lowest of that, and then Mock was the highest of players outside of those players I expect to just carry a series.
I think I had him 13, but then I was like, well, pump the brakes. This is a whole season. And then I actually went on his profile and I looked through all his results and I was like, yeah, okay, he wasn't really doing too much before that, before the final regional. So, but individually, wow, he is certainly going to get higher than this, which is already 14th seems crazy, but I guess it's for the split. But he'll be higher than 17th for me, for sure.
Yeah, I'm the same. I rated him just only because he had one good regional. I didn't put him over Finn. Because I feel like Finn's very consistent, consistently the man for Serrani. But I think Fades could get higher if he continues to play or keep the form that he's at.
Yeah, this might be spoilers for later, but not a single person put him above Finn. That gives you the showing. And he just, I felt like he was pretty much the problem the first 2 events, or at least like it was proven when Tango was on the team to him being on the team. He just looked a little lost, but once he got into it, once he figured out how to play as a team, perfect. And if he can keep that up, he is going to be a top player next season.
Yeah, the impressive thing for him was I don't know, you hear about these lower sort of ranked players or, these bubble players that, they've got mech and stuff. And it's like, okay, and you see them do it in the, lowers round 1 against invisible ninjas or something. But then Vage was pulling this thing against the top 3 teams. He was just pulling off clips, hitting resets, hitting double taps. And I was like, okay, he can actually perform against the best teams as well. So that's something he has going for him. Very impressive.
Yeah. I think firstly as well, it looks like Gus is back to ranking with 21 as worst.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's disgraceful, but I don't know. I think Fades. I think he'll be individually looking forward to next season a lot. He'll be looking for that top 10 push, perhaps. I think if we were just ranking Regional 3 purely, he'd probably be in top 10. Only just.
Oh yeah.
But I think we just need that consistency. At the end of the day, it was one regional. I think if he didn't have that one regional, he would not be this high at all. So we need to see it again, basically.
As a note, he was very, very clearly 14. There was a big gap between him and Mock, and a big gap between him and the next one. So the person who did put him 21, could have literally ranked him 30, and it wouldn't have made a difference. And he could have literally ranked him 1, and it wouldn't have made a difference. Is how much of a gap there was.
Who is 13 then, Yummy? Pull it up.
Number 13, this is when we start getting a very clear picture. I feel like at this point we get into tiers, with maybe some disagreement within the tiers. But Shaw's is very clear 13 as well.
Oh, bang on.
Yeah.
Nice work, everyone.
Consistency. Wow.
Very good. Amphis, what are you thinking, mate?
Disgustingly low.
That could have looked clean. I think Shaw's... I think he's just been very consistently the best on his team as well. But I think I agree with what CJ was saying before, but I think it was Misty. You kind of, when you're rating these individual players, you also have to rate their team as well on the side. And their team just hasn't been good enough, full stop. Against the top teams, they haven't been good enough. So I don't think it could warrant him getting that top 10. So I think this is a good spot for him. He's been the best.
Yeah. I think a lot of people rank him 13th just because that's where he usually is on the him please. I feel like this split, it's very hard to separate the him please like individually. I feel like they were just all the same. Like they were very similar.
In the first event, he was clear though. That was where he was separated.
Yeah. Maybe the first one, but like the other two, like I swear they were just all the same player.
Yeah. He didn't have as good a performance, but in the first event, like they came fourth. Like that, the reason they came fourth is because of Shores.
It's because he uses Rizzo controls. I can't believe he does that, and he didn't tell anyone. Well, he didn't. I didn't know about that.
I forgot about it. He told me
it's transitioning.
I was like, what?
We could see a new Taijo Kibble next split. Next season. Sorry, we'll see.
Anyway, with Shores and that, it might be boring, but kind of with like OCE rankings right now, you rank the first 9 are the top 3 teams, and then you're like, righto, who's like the best of the rest? So you put Finn in there, you put like a couple other, and then I just went, him police 13, 14, 15. It's like Shores Misty Mock, or Shores Mock Misty. That's just kind of like, you know what I mean? You put sort of the best outside the 9, and then you have to have him police there because they're always up there, and you can't separate them. I don't know.
And yours is for the entire season, so you just have Shores out ahead of the other 2 for the season, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's been the best player on that team, but not far enough to be above any of the other ones below or above him.
I think it makes it interesting then that you have this person, number 12. You also ranked them 12. Another clean one, except for Amphis, huh? Huh?
Maybe yous are all just wrong by
No,
one.
I know why you're wrong. Actually, let's just go.
I do as well.
Let's just go out there.
Is it next?
No, it's not next.
Can I leak it now?
The reason,
why
no pre-excuses. The reason Amphis is one off on all of these very clear rankings in the like 10 to 13 range is because he put Hunter 14.
And I think that's fair.
Okay.
That's harsh.
He didn't play 2 Sundays.
Yeah, but like the times that he did play, like he was better than all these players.
He's versing bums compared to what Tango had to.
He versed you.
He versed you. He smashed you.
Yeah, bum. We were bummy. Like we were probably one of the better teams he played against, and we were awful. Like I don't know. I think
you are the top 3 teams.
We were. Like at that time, we were awful. Like when you versed us.
I also rated Hunter lower because he didn't show up to Sundays, but
yeah, I mean,
maybe not 14 low.
His ranking will definitely be inflated a bit.
Let's talk about Gus for a second. I've got a few bones to pick with Gus. Firstly, not only did he absolutely sabotage the last rankings, it was the most... I don't know if anyone in chat remembers, but it was the most ridiculous rankings I've ever seen ever.
He's the only one I've ever had to scrub out from a ranking, one of his ranks, because it changed.
We had to scrub his rankings out because they were so bad. But not only that, I'm just starting to pick up the pieces that this man might be like an imposter from another region just coming to infiltrate and sabotage. Because not only did he destroy the rankings, but he also blew up the region because he could have teamed with Fiber and Kami at the start of this bloody season. Instead, it doesn't happen. Kami gets kicked to APAC. Fiber gets kicked off his team. He's landed on his feet. Well done to him. And he decided to just team with his friends and hang out with the boys. It is absolutely ridiculous. He's ruined the scene. We've lost one of our best players in Kami to APAC, and now he's just plodding his way over there. He couldn't even make the last major. That's ruined his career. He's ruining his own career right now because he could be in the top 9 players. And he's ruining our rankings. I'm sick of it. But we're no credit to him. He's the best player on the merge. So.
You forgot one thing, though. He refused to join that team with Fiber and Kami so that he could play with Remick and Ames.
With the boys.
And then immediately kicked Remick right afterwards.
He has destroyed OCE.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He's on all that.
Kami wouldn't have left if this happened, and well, obviously Fiber's laying on his feet, but Fiber did talk about it in an interview on the weekend. But Gus, I've told it to him personally as well. I'm disappointed in him. He's ruining the region. He is. I'm angry. And he's ruining the rankings as well. Like, never get him back for these. I think there is a Gus on this stream anyway, similar. Someone had 21 for fades. That might be a Gus influence.
It might have been a Luna throw for this one. I'll just put it out there. So.
Anyway, there's my Gus rant.
He did a good one last time, so Luna's on a 1-1 streak at the moment.
Yeah. The Streets is saying Gus is teaming with Finn and Fades. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Wait,
what a roster. What a roster.
Monster
that is
Finner.
Wow.
They've lost their captain in Pagsy, though.
Maybe Paggo can be the sub, be the Tango sub.
Be the coach.
Maybe that could be like Tartar's Minions where Tatagano doesn't actually play. That could be like Pag Goat's Minions.
I mean, you'd have to say that that's an improvement based on the rankings, but you just never know, right?
You never know.
I go mentality.
You did, CJ, have Gus over Shores for the entire season, so you felt like... Did you feel like he took over in this split?
I just think he's a better player. I think it's one of those ones where I didn't exactly go 100% performance, like team performance, but I just think individually he is a better player. I think he would elevate a team more than Shores would individually, and his individual performances have been higher than Shores in terms of peak performances. Shores probably has a consistency because, Merge have their moments where the Caleb doesn't show up and Cobbo's a bit iffy, as Scrub was saying. But I think individually, I just got Gus over him. I think he's been better this season and he's been a better player this season. But performance-wise, him Police probably, do have the edge over him, Merge.
For the season, at least. Let's move on to number 11.
How many strays? I'm sorry.
well. Let's go back and speak about Tadagane for a second. I mean, Matro comes in, gets a top 6. Tada playing from the campsite on 999 ping, can't do well. But then the third event, Tada was there, right? Disappointing. Number 11 is going to be Finn, which...
9 for Amphis. Are you not including your team, or is that including your team?
That's including his team, but remember he put Hunter 14.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think the Hunter straight because, I'm not putting him high when he's not playing the regionals.
That makes sense.
Disgraceful. So,
Fair play.
Technically he's 10, and I think Finn is an exceptional player. Like by far the best outside of the top 9 in the top 3 teams. Obviously Hunter is in that 9 if he's playing the game, but he's not. I don't know. I think Finn's exceptional. I think next season if he gets the right team, maybe it's that new team that's I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but if it is, I think he might be able to do some very good stuff next season.
Yeah, I think that Serrani team, whoever's on it, like if it's Fades and Finn, I think they will be the 4th best team, like clearly. Like I think we'll have a strong 4 next season.
Yeah. So you think they're good enough to actually like compete for the major, or that they'll just be getting some upsets here or there?
No, I just think like if I have to guess into the future, I think that the top 3 will be once again like a tier of their own, like a bit above them, but this team will be like definitely like knocking on the door.
Right
like,
gaming.
Yeah, like they'll be like, if you're off your game, like we're gonna beat you. Like you gotta be making sure you're playing well against us. Whereas nowadays, like him, Police, Merge, like we've had some shocking series against both of them, but we just still like pull through a comfortable series. But this team definitely, I don't think they'll let it fly.
He'll be the right team.
Yeah.
I think
he's
Amphis
clearly the
can
best of
attest
the
to
rest.
that, yeah.
Like Finn, there's nothing else to say about him apart from he's just the best of the rest. He's
Go.
Clearly, he might even be better than some of the ones above him, but it's just performance-wise, team performance has to weigh in as well. And obviously the top 3 teams are all going to be right there.
I'm really glad that he got to have that 2 events with Tango and like absolutely show up and show that he still has it, because we'd kind of lost confidence in him more than he'd even lost confidence in himself. And so he got to do that, prove himself. And I feel like even when they were going poorly through this split and Finn, not getting the results he wanted, he still looked a lot more confident than pre that Tango era. He still looked better this split when they weren't going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who put him 12th, by the way? That's interesting.
12th is...
He's not better than the rest for someone.
Cobbo. Cobbo put him 12th. He put Gus over him.
Oh, that's fair.
Team buff. Team buff.
Fair enough.
Team buff. Everybody has their team buff. Like almost every single team ranked their players. This is why I don't count. It's counted for the best and worst ranked, but it doesn't count towards the actual overall ranking. It's pretty much everybody ranks their team higher. It's just like varying amounts of higher or lower. So yeah. Number 10 is going to be Tango, the super sub, coming in at number 10. Somebody did rank him number 8. Give a big
To be fair,
there.
I still put him 11 for the season. That is a massive respect for Tango.
Yeah.
I
think that's fair. Yeah, like
He wasn't even an actual player.
He's so good. He's so. I wanted. If this was split, I would have put him. I don't know.
at
Like
least
he has been.
10.
I would have put him 1. Like, he's been so good. This split was incredible to watch. I can't remember this ever happening in OCE. Like a guy just coming in and doing what he's doing. It was exciting.
The
Well done, Tango.
closest we got to this is looking all the way back to RLCS Season 3. And if you remember, S. Steve was too young to play, but he was listed as a sub. And Corvidae at the time, who was like Plitz, Days, and Siki, they had one... Siki couldn't play because his parents were forcing him to go to an Easter thing over the Easter weekend. And so Steve stepped in and took down like Jam Gaming, which was the shady team at the time, like the number 2 team and stuff like that. But it didn't count because they had to forfeit. He was too young. But we just allowed him to play for the sake of the broadcast. So that's the closest and only other time that a sub's done that well.
The thing about Tango is, I think I said on the broadcast, when everyone's saying, "Oh, Pioneers, they haven't been screwing with Tango," and it's like, but Tango's a player like. Yeah, and even you're saying, Tango, like, imagine if you played the game. I don't know if you get better because you are just a player. Like, you just have always played the game, like, at his... I'll go speak third person. He's always played the game, like, at his own pace. Like, and he doesn't rush himself, which means he rarely whiffs the ball. He's just solid. He's a human tank. He's not flashy. He just gets the job done. His positioning. He's like the turbo of, like, the region. Like, I don't know if he's got to get better if he plays the game because he's just got a fantastic like role-filling play style.
Yeah. And I also like to say, I remember watching the RLO like teams like stream where like, Bassink's like, oh, they should have played with Tango. Like, like the reason we didn't play scrim with Tango was because we were preying on like the honeymoon factor. We felt like if we kept scrimming and kept overthinking it, we wouldn't play as well. Because like that regional that we won, we literally scrimmed with Tango like once. And we were like, let's do it again.
Like once again.
Yeah, I mean, like we were just praying on like, like let's not overthink it. Like just get there on the day, have fun, like see what happens. And this time it like nearly worked. Like nearly pulled through, but like not quite as good as what we were. It happens. Can't expect much.
Yeah, and I put him below Finn if I recall. Yeah, I put him below Finn. Results wise, obviously very good, especially in the second event. Going 2-0, and then the third event, obviously, in the end, a result of 0-1, but a game 7 is still fantastic against top teams. But like at no point was he looking like he was the second best player on that team. It was always kind of relying a lot on Scrub and Banana Head to pop off in order to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always on me and Banana with Tango. Like, it was always on us to play well to win.
Which is, on other teams, if you brought in a sub, it's going to bring the team down. You won't even have a chance to win even if you pop off. So that's the real testament. But also why I didn't feel like Tango could be in the top 10 over Finn for this split, but over the top of Gus. So the other mechanical player that could have maybe overtaken him. I think I did switch them around a couple of times. I was tossing up between Tango 11 or 12. For that reason. But let's move on. Number 9 is going to be Torsos, which funnily enough, like it feels low based on the name and the fact that he's going to the major again. However, this is a rise in the rankings from the winter split. He was outside of the top 10 in the winter split.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I still think like Torsos can be better than what he is right now. Like I think I don't know. I just think he's got a lot more to. Even though he's an old player, I still think he's got a lot more in him. Like that he can be a lot better than what he is now. But like being number 9, like I'm no stranger to being like the last place of the top players. So like, it's no like shame in being like 9th considering like the players above him. But there's still a lot more for Torsos.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he can certainly get better. It's something he has going for him. I don't feel like he can really. I don't think he's like limited by his individual ability. I just think I want to say he's like stuck in ways a little bit, but I think he could certainly change up a little bit his approach. He's a lot, Yummy used to talk about how his boost consumption, he's been working on his boost usage and stuff, but he's still very like an all-in sort of player a lot of the time. So I'd like to see him sort of, I don't know, I don't want to say like settle down a bit, but
no, I agree. I want him to settle down.
Yeah, like not throw himself out as much. And, you watch EU, it's a lot more, you've got 30 boosts, I'm going to keep it. Whereas Torse will just be like, I'll just use that extra little squirt and see if I can get a dunk on this, sort of thing. So I think it's like those sort of little things that he could turn his play style and really get back up there. As you see, like sort of the players above him just seem to have a bit more of a, I don't know, like I don't want to say like a Rocket League IQ, but at least for like the current meta, you know what I mean? Like they're a bit more in tune of what they need to do, grabbing the right 50-50s and stuff. Like I'm really seeing Torse do that. It's always like the fast-paced doubles or the flashy off-the-ceiling resets and stuff. He needs to sort of do the bit more of the groundwork. And he's done some demos. Like he's brought the demos into his game, certainly a lot more this season, a little bit last season as well. But yeah, just a bit more of a play style thing for him is why he's dropped down for mine.
Yeah, I think just because his play style is so aggressive, and that is definitely how he plays so well. Like when he's at his best, he's going for the ball permanently, and I think it's just dependent. The way that he plays is very dependent on if he's comfortable within the team, and I think that's why we had such lows. And probably he had such a low as well. Yeah. It's just because I think it was a combination of little confidence because we weren't playing that well, and then also like comfortability within the play style. And I think in Regional 1, I thought he was incredible. That's when we were most comfortable because we were in a little honeymoon period, I'd say. Like first regional back from 3/8, 5th to 8th. Like, I don't know, it just felt like a new season, basically, and I think that's why we were so comfortable. And then I think for all three of us, it kind of just like worn off, like the honeymoon comfortability. So I think that's why he started playing a tiny bit worse. But we're a lot better in Regional 3.
I think your problems in Regional 3 that I saw, I feel like it's not Torsos necessarily always affecting that, but even the team affecting Torsos as well, because a lot of his mistakes over this split and the last split has been from him always wanting to edge forward to move into spots and then seeing the ball go over the top of his head, and that's why he's like randomly whiffing balls in the midfield. That's where his biggest mistakes come from. It's because he's trying to gun it forward at inappropriate times, and that's what your team was doing in this third event entirely, just jumping for things that were not even like pressure jumps, not even applying any pressure to a ball, just jumping, being skittish, and I feel like that's a large part of also what's putting Torsos down for me is just his mistakes more than anything else. Because when he is good, as you said in the first event grand final, he won you that grand final. He was the difference between a Game 7 win and a Game 7 loss.
I agree.
Cool. Well, that's Torsos, and a close to Torsos. This was a very close race. Obviously helped by Amphis to make this close. Close races.
Helped by me, maybe?
Helped by you, which is fair because I think across the season you would give him a really good ranking like this.
Yeah. I also think my rating might have been a bit nice considering he didn't really play. I definitely think he should be lower than Torsos considering Torsos actually played the whole thing. But, he's my teammate. Got to rank him high.
Yeah. I mean, I only put him one below Torsos, so yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like, it's kind of like a dummy ranking right now because, he didn't play. So, he hasn't been underperforming per se. Well, you could say that you guys look better with Tango, but I don't know. Maybe you guys just, as you said, they had the honeymoon with Tango, so it was a bit different. But no, Hunter's still Hunter. He's still doing his thing.
Well, this is the only rank. Like, there were some obviously interesting ranks from you, CJ, but I could kind of understand it. And in fact, I think for you, if you could think about who your actual top 6 for this split is, that would be interesting because that's where all the biggest disagreement between all the rankers is where people lie in the top 6. But this wasn't an unreasonable rank. seeing Hunter at 5, because if you were a ranker and just like, how did Hunter play in the series he played in?
When he was playing, yeah.
When he was playing, you could put him 5. He had a bad third event in my eyes, but he was the best player on the team when he was playing in the second event against Power, and he was probably the same in the first event. So I could see him being in that spot. That's why that's probably why I didn't also call you out and be like, hey, this is for the split, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing though. It doesn't matter how well Finn plays. You still, if they're not getting the results, you can't really put them inside the top 9. And if I was doing split rank, I'd probably put Hunter like 80th, because I feel like Champ Sunday is the biggest, indicator of performance and stuff. So even though you could just go, when he's playing, how are his results? Well, he didn't really play on a Sunday, so it's kind of like a wash. The split for him.
Yeah, he lost points for me. I would have probably put him 6 or 7 at the worst, but he went down just because he wasn't there for Sunday.
Yeah, no, I just think he's 14th. He didn't go down at all.
I'll probably put him there as well. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I can't really say anything. Like, he's just way higher, isn't he? But like, I don't know. You can't not play Sundays and be top 10. I don't think that's fair.
If CJ put him 14, then he would have gone down below Torsos.
Yep. That's I think he's just here. Like, he needs to be here because he's a top, sixth player in the region. But Anyway, let's move on.
I think before we move on, you bring up a good point. I feel like there is, like, at this point in time, a bunch of people that can all be number 1 in the region. I think you look in the past, and it was a fight between maybe Amphis and Fever in the past, or further back like Siki and
now they're both shit. So now you've got like Super Lucky. And
you could have Super Lucky, Amphis, Banana Head, Hunter, Fever, Finn, Torsos, like
Tango,
Scrub. Technically, could all be the best player in the region on a given day. I think you guys are going down to Gus. He's a little bit far. Finn even hasn't won an event yet. So
it's good 6 or 7. They'd swap around between top 1.
Yeah, which is maybe way more than we've ever had in the past, which is, I guess, maybe...
It used to just be me, Fever, and Amphis. So
the good old days.
It's good to see the young kids in here anyway.
Which does make it interesting, because one of those players is... firmly 7. There was like a separation. There was a top 6 tier, the 7th, and then like a tier below that with Hunters, Torsos, Tango, Finn kind of sitting there. So Amphis rated him highly. This is a little bit of team bias, don't we think?
No, I think it's 0 bias.
Okay.
No, I thought he was... I think Fever was at his best probably in... I think it's really close between Regional 1 and 3, to be honest. After we got a really bad performance in Regional 2, we brought up trying to get him to be more impactful, trying to get him slightly out of that like third man role, trying to get him on the solos a lot more, and I think it did happen in Regional 3. He was definitely more impactful than what he was in previous splits and Regionals. Obviously he wasn't peaking or anything like that, but he was playing probably the best on our team in that Regional. On average, but I think Fever's always got in his pocket that he can just shoot up to 1, especially going into a LAN. It's very expected that he will rise up to that LAN.
Yeah, I think he's had a disappointing season, if I'm being honest. Oh, maybe not the first split, but like winter and spring, he's been pretty disappointing by like Fever's standards. Like he should be no lower than a top 3, I think, with how good he is. But he's just he hasn't really played that well. He played well in the third region when we played them. Like he played very well against us, but just not quite Fever.
Yeah, mine's a bit interesting because I've put him 8, and that's like the whole season. And I think I've probably gone anti-recency bias, given that if you look at the first split, how you guys were playing, it was phenomenal. Probably say Amphis you were better in that first split, but Fever was right there. But then it's sort of like since then, it's just been off and on for him, which is, and I probably have been a bit harsh here, but I'm with Scrub. Like I just expect him to be a top 3, and I'm just not seeing, I guess, the Fever of last season. enough. Like again, you see glimpses here and there, but I don't know. It feels like you see a different power as well, like every time you guys play. And I know you sort of mentioned it in an interview, Amphis, about how you guys have overthought it a bit. And I know that playing with Fever, he's a critical, chronic overthinker as well. So I feel like at the same time, maybe he's just like lost a bit of, I don't know, maybe lost what's made him the best player in the region and maybe gone away from a little bit. I'd love to see him get it back and find his way. But I'm with Scrub. I think it's been, compared to last season, well, obviously, you know, he might just peak at the major and then make Worlds and then peak at Worlds as well. And it'll be like a good season for him. But I think last season he was pretty incredible, consistently like clutching and carrying with me.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy that stands out in my mind because in the third second event, he had a bad event. And that was his only bad event of the entire last season. And so that's like proof in the pudding of what you said, that how good his season was last season.
Exactly.
But he said to me in an interview before the last event that he is taking much more of a support role, and you can kind of see why he'd not be the top player on his team doing that, you know. And I think it's interesting. He could be more. I don't know
why he's doing that. I think he could just play his game on any team, and because he sort of plays it at his own pace. You know what I mean? Like I was a million miles an hour, and he was always like, we just play it at his own pace, like his shadow defend. But
I really liked that from your team because it was clear what everybody was going to do.
Yeah, and I think he should just stick to what he does. But I feel like he's nearly like trying to change too much to try and make the team better. But I don't think it's making the team better. It might be like the ideal play style or something, or to unlock Amphis. But I don't think he needs to change anything the way Amphis plays. Like Amphis, you're the biggest monkey ever. Like you'll still be downfield. You can do what. You'll be downfield like I was, except you'll actually be hitting the ball and scoring goals. Whereas, so Fever can still play a third man if he wants to. I don't know. I think he might have overthought it, and I just like knowing Thieves. I know he does that. Like he'll, I remember last season we just show up to a scrim and he'd be like, "Oh, this time I'm playing more like Vatira or something." We'd be like, "Oh, okay. What does that mean?" Like, but he just like change up his play style, and because he's been watching replays, because he does a lot of replay analysis and stuff with himself and European teams and Monkey Moon and whatnot. So I don't know. I feel like Amphis, you talked about it. You guys overthinking it a lot. I think when you guys were at your peak, when you're honeymooning, I don't think you guys are really thinking about too much. You're just playing the game and really feeling it out. So I think like some of that which is what plagued a bit of our team last season, is creeping into power, which can bring you guys unstuck in the big moments. I think when you're like, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself trying to play a certain way rather than what Pioneers did with Tango, just play the game, lol, and don't think about it. That's when power are phenomenal. So I think we'll see that in the major. I think you guys will have a good boot camp. But yeah, anyway, getting back to Thieves, I've gone a roundabout way, but I think he can be a lot higher. I just think, I think he'll be I don't think he'll be disappointed with his season, but I think he knows he can be the best player in the region. I think he can be the best player in the world, but they're just not right now.
Well, I also
that might be too much, but you know what I mean. He's there.
I want to point out to Amphis as well. Like, I feel like some of the best players in the world are from the third man, especially these days in the current era. Is that you get so much more room when you are that third man. That's why Fever's good. He's the best when he's got time on the ball. So I don't know why you'd even necessarily want him to push more aggressively and instead figure out how to play around what he does.
I don't know. I think it's about finding the right balance, because that's what we were doing. He was a pretty far back. Like even we look at stats a lot. Jimmer loves the stats, and we like to try and see, guess what was happening in the series based off the stats. And in that second series, he was very third man. So clearly you just wouldn't want to do that again, just based on it not working and failing like that bad.
That sounds so overthinky though. Oh, this one thing happened, cause correlation.
Well, it wasn't one thing yet. We came fifth to 8 3 times, and then we won a regional, and then we played really bad again.
Second split.
It wasn't once. Yeah, so I think something needed to change at the end of the day, and we decided to. I think Fever felt like he had confidence to try and be more impactful, so we tried to implement that into our game. And I will say that it worked. I thought he was very impactful against KCP, and he was probably the best player on that pitch.
Yeah.
I just wish you guys were maybe a little more on the same page, you know, but not bumping each other, not kind of getting into the same position as much. But, you know, we'll see how that goes. As you said, Fever should be higher than 7th. So now we get into top 6, and hopefully CJ's thought about his top 6 as well. Maybe we'll go through the top 6 and then
I'll do it at the end.
Ask you at the end. This is where it gets really interesting. All of the top 6 were really close, and there was wildly different opinions on this top 6. So number 6 is going to be Banana Head, which is a crazy surprise. A 2 from CJ. But that's not even out of the question, given, for me, Banana Head had the best individual performance in a single series during this split, and that was the second event grand final. If you were to just look at that, he's the clear best player in the region. But I also felt he had a lot of shocker series in both the first and the first event. Well, not shocker, but like bad comparative series in the first and third events.
I think he's in the same boat as Fever, where you expect a lot of him. So when he doesn't live up to those expectations that he puts on himself, and that other people put on him, it makes it look a lot worse than what it was. But yeah, definitely had his ups and downs, Banana, this split.
Well, my biggest thing is that it felt like when he was pressured, he kind of defaulted to a very old playstyle he did, a last season playstyle where he'd air dribble the ball from one end to the other and kind of remove all threats from the entire team. And that was especially true in the third event. So even though he was playing well as an individual, the decision making there ended up being a detriment to the team.
Yeah, well, obviously mine's a bit more for the season. I think it was, I guess, more of a testament to you guys, like Pioneers as a whole, like having Hunter 5th. You know, I feel like Pioneers, you know, you guys have been the most, I guess for the most part, the most consistent team. Like you're at Worlds already, but yeah, I think, Banana Head, he has been inconsistent. I agree he's a little bit like Fever, but I just think he's probably performed at a higher level. And but you guys just haven't had those massive, like, what is going on sort of series, which I think you guys like Power have had a lot more of. And I think that consistency factor is why you guys like Pioneers are right there, like 1 or 2 in the region.
It is also very interesting with Pioneers, again, with the sub factor too. It makes it harder to rank them all.
Yeah. I don't know. I think B-Head's probably been one of the more inconsistent people this split. Because I think, he was like hard clear number 1. Like no one could argue number 1 after that second regional. But then I went a lot off what I saw when we were versing him in that make or break series as well, and I thought he was very poor, especially in a lot of the key moments. Like we got a few free goals off a mistake from him as well, like direct mistakes, which you usually don't see. But it's usually very, very icy in regional formats. So yeah, I thought that was disappointing, and I had to drop him a decent amount for that.
It's fair. Yeah, so I remember that Neo Tokyo game. He had a couple of blunders. Was that the final game? No, it went to 7.
I don't know. There was one where he crept for a ball overtime, and he just couldn't aerial for it, and then I just had like an open net redirect on the backboard. But I think there was one more as well. But like other than that, I thought he was like, I don't know. He can't drop below top 6 after that regional 2. He's just showing everyone what he can do when he's playing well, and he's unbeatable.
Yeah. So that's a top 6, as in like top 2 teams despite not making the major, though it was a very, very close race. So a lot of interspersion in this, which will move us on to number 5 and brings us along to Kaka. This was okay. So I've got him as 3. I want to point out, I put all 3 members of Ground Zero next to each other, and I swapped their places over and over again a million times. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm just going with what I originally put, because they played as a team. They each kind of had a turn. Super Lucky had the best of first event. Kaka was the best in the third event. Fiber was the best of them in the second event. It was really hard for me to separate them.
He was wicked, and I think we said that to maybe Kaka in an interview. Like if he's not performing, then it's Fiber performing, and it's almost like they're him police, but they're good. Do you know what I mean? And that you can't really split them individually when you think about like, oh, who was it that hit that double flip race out? Well, it could have been any three of them because they've all done it throughout the split, throughout different series, and they all pop off. They all carry series individually, or it's two playing well and one maybe not having a great series, but in the next series, that person that wasn't playing well is popping off. So they're all around the mark. They're a fantastically well-rounded team. They all individually don't really. I can't pick out like different weaknesses for each player. Like they sort of have team weaknesses in their defense sometimes and the way they play, but individually they're all so similar. Very mechanical.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm in the same boat as CJ. It's hard to rank them differently. Also, because I didn't watch a lot of OC this split. Like when I wasn't playing, like I didn't watch a lot. So I don't know. Like but it always is kind of hard to like determine who's the best on that team because they're all pretty like their play style just makes them all play similar. Just depends who's feeling it.
Yeah, they usually. I thought. Obviously, I'm not going to leak who, but I thought this split was one of the easier ones that I could tell, like differences between each individual. But I thought Kaka was just very solid. I don't think he popped off in series. I don't think he carried a series by himself, whereas I thought another one of them did. But I don't think he ever threw a series really.
Yeah.
Maybe had a lot of hits in Regional 1 actually when we versed him, but. Other than that, I thought he's been very, very solid.
7 seems very low.
Yes,
yeah, you can't put him out.
A bit low.
You can't put him outside of the top 6.
Can we have a bit of flame for whoever did that?
Sure.
Probably Luna.
Shores?
He says Shores.
Oh, I thought.
It was Shores who did it. Yeah.
Oh,
7.
Harsh. Who put him at 2?
Wow.
He put Fever above him, essentially. And 2 was Pagsy. Pagsy's a big,
on your Pag.
Big
That's basically teammate buff.
Yeah.
Teammate buff.
Cancel it out then.
I don't know, Amphis. A lot of people disagree with you that it was easy, given how separated these rankings are. Like how everybody has them very, very differently.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
There's a good throw later on that you'll see, but so a 7 is not the worst. Well, you have like an interesting one, but it's like all understandable. So you do have a throw, CJ, but it's like a whatever.
Keep going then. Keep going. Let's have a look.
But yeah, so number 4, Super Lucky. I actually had him behind Kaka.
Okay, this is my throw.
Yeah, you had him number 1, which obviously, like, I think
now it makes sense.
Be clear, if it's over the season, Super Lucky's obviously number 1.
Yeah.
Too consistent.
2 different teams.
Didn't have a bad rating.
Made every grand final.
Yeah. I think my rating might have been a bit harsh on him. I think if I'm looking back on it, I probably would put him a bit higher. But, I think in terms of Super Lucky standards of what he's capable of as a player, I think he didn't have the greatest split. He was very consistent, didn't throw, but I think he could have been a bit better.
Yeah, he never had that performance where he was like just clear, and just doing so much.
Yeah.
Especially when you look back at the previous split where he was having like such impact. He'd never had a single major impact, like single-handed carry a series kind of performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like he was doing that. And he has done that consistently before. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First regional on GZ, he was a different beast. Yeah. Had something to prove of me in Banana Head.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was just the definition of solid. Just rarely made in, but he didn't really make that much in offense, to be honest, compared to both of his teammates. I thought Kaka was, in many series, he was incredibly threatening, especially when he went low, which is most of the time. A little flavor, I don't know. He's just very solid. He wasn't as threatening as he usually was, so I don't know. 7 might be a bit harsh, but I think he'll know that he kind of underperformed for what he has done in previous splits.
Yeah, well, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know if he'd agree because he put himself number 2. So.
Wow.
But I will say that for a player to be consistent across the split is a surprise. There were only honestly, 2 players who consistently played well across the split, but one of them was also very impactful at the same time. It wasn't a very consistent looking split for most players. So that's where I think you and me disagree, Amphis.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to rank inconsistent players.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why it's like B-Ad was so different for a lot of people as well. I don't know. I think Lockie for majority of the season has just been better than Cax, but I thought this split just super Lockie wasn't very threatening. Full stop. Whereas Kaka scored a decent amount of solo goals as well. Just did it by himself a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's been his worst split, but he's still been the best player all season as a whole.
Yeah,
so it's kind of it. That's him. Good on him.
Who put him 1?
Me, obviously. I did the whole season.
And himself. Oh no, not himself.
And himself.
and I think somebody
I
else
am
did
him.
as well. Yeah, Cobbo also put him number 1.
Cobbo put him 1. Surely he misinterpreted the leaderboard as well.
Yeah, who knows? I guess.
He
But
did a
I was very
CJCJ.
clear on the instructions to everyone else outside of you 3.
Nah.
funnily
he
enough.
could have just thought Lockie was the best. Like that's
Yeah,
not like
fair.
that's not a hot take that Lockie was the one.
I don't think it's a hot take.
What, for this split? I feel like it is, isn't it?
I think you can make
It's
an argument
not-
for it.
Yeah, like it's not without the realms of possibility that somebody could possibly think it. Given
Yeah.
that Ground Zero
Yeah.
were the number 1 team, if you felt that he was so important for that team to consistently get the results, I could see it. But
Yeah.
I don't
no
think it's the
Gus
right
ranking
one,
from
but
last
you
split.
could see it.
Oh, triple top.
We haven't
triple
had
top eight.
really a big Gus. Apart from Fades at 21, I think that's probably a Gus.
Oh,
rank.
you'll see a Gus moment soon, I think. You'll see a Gus
Okay.
moment soon.
It'll be me.
Not quite. Not quite. Maybe right now with an 8 for Amphis.
We put him 8.
8.
Wow.
That's the Gus moment
You're
coming out. That's coming out from Luna again.
What?
A big old throw right there.
What a dog from Luna. Did we verse
Yeah.
Luna? We did, didn't we?
How-
Oh, we
I don't
lost to
remember.
him in Regional 2, I think, didn't we? Maybe
Oh.
that's why.
Yeah. Oh, we've lost everything. Anyway, oh no, we've leaked everything. Amphis at 3 for me for the season. Congratulations, Amphis. I think when I went to the
Bronze.
season rankings for the most part, it went a bit more. No, I don't really know where I went with that. Because honestly, I probably went anti-recency bias, Amphis, which probably hurt you. Because if you think about your 4 major full split, like, it was clearly the best OCE performance. So, you know, I could probably squeeze you in the top 2 there. But in terms of OCE online, like, you guys have just been, I don't know, Power's just been the 3rd team. So I'll put you 3rd. So that's unlucky. 1, 2, super
that's
lucky
fair.
banana head, you're 3rd. But you could be 1.
I put Amphis like pretty high because I feel like every time we played Amphis, he was like by far their best player. Except the 3rd time. The 3rd time we played them, I'd say him and Phoebe were pretty like on par.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Amphis has been very
There
very.
was the grand final of the first event where Amphis was a little quiet. But that was like
Yeah.
one series. Outside of that,
That was
every-
Torsos just popping though. He was him.
Yeah, no need for Amphis to do
No
anything.
need.
outside of that, yeah, Amphis has been consistently their best player for me.
Yeah, even when you guys look absolutely terrible, like you've nearly dragged your team over the line individually, so you've definitely been the best player for mine this season on Power. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
just the
everyone.
best player Amphis. Just the goat, bro.
Yep, as usual. Forever.
So that means that we'll reveal numbers 2 and 1 at the same time because it's obvious. So Fiber 2 and Scrub number 1. Hopefully I can...
Okay, so I've definitely.
Well done. Well done,
Think about the
CJ.
season. Don't look at my worst ranks. Look, Scrub was phenomenal. Scrub. The problem with you, right, is that I just see so much of me in you, and
Yeah,
I
you
just
gotta stop that now. You have to stop that
But
now.
I just honestly, you're my favorite player to watch because I feel like that we're telepathically connected, and I think the problem is that we're apart from obviously this split, you were incredible this split, but I don't know. It's just like like a Banana Head and Hunter are just gonna like do their thing, and I think that without like you make the team better, but in terms of like individual play for the season, like Hunter and Banana Head, like individually have been better. Apart from the last
I
split.
do think putting Fiber 6 for the season though is also kind of.
Oh, sorry, we're talking about Fiber. Yeah, I'll talk about you in a minute. I'll go back to you, Shrub. Fiber 6 for the season. You saying that's too low?
I think that's too low as well. But then again, I also put him number 1 for last split. So yeah, he didn't have as good a split this one.
I had Super Lucky number 1 last split, I think, as well. I think for mine, I flipped between. I think I went 1, 4, and 6 with Ground Zero. Spaced them out a little bit, and I flip-flopped between Kaka and Fiber on the 4 and 6 spot. And I don't know, I just remember for the first split, you know, Kaka on Ground Zero. I think the Fiber was on was it placeholders back then? I don't know. I think Kaka was like a bit better in that first split, and I just think that I don't know. I can't split them. It honestly just comes down to me separating them, spacing out the teams, because I don't want one to be way higher because it wouldn't make sense. Because all the teams, you know, the top 3 have been so close. So if you look at my rankings, I've sort of put, like, you can see that I've got sort of Power as the 3rd team for the season, and then the top 2 are like 1, 4, and 6, and 2, 3, and 5 or something.
Yeah.
Whatever I've got, 2, 3, and... Yeah, anyway, you know what I mean. I've had to separate the players based on the team performance at the end of the day. And Fiber was the unlucky one to drop down because I put Kako ahead of him for the season.
Yeah.
I was impressed with Fiber this split. I thought usually when GZ are all 3 in a line, like right next to each other, you can't really split them up. I thought Fiber was a bit off their second best player. I thought Cax and Lockie were very close, but Fiber was. I thought he was incredible this split.
He had
usually
really important event too.
Yeah. But I think usually he has series where he just completely like hides. Like he doesn't really have like the pop-off factor that he usually does. But this split, I thought almost all series he got a solo goal by himself. He got a few in most of them, and he won a few series by himself as well. I don't really think, like back on Super Lucky quickly, I don't really think he made too many goals like for the team by himself. But I thought Fiber was doing that consistently, and he was not inting like at all in defense either. Like when we versed him, he was probably the best on defense and on offense at the same time.
Well, I think
just a cool player to watch. He's a good player.
I think for a team with Ground Zero's play style that is very like dependent on like a big individual play, like Fiber's meant to step up. He's meant to be their best. So of all the 3 of them, he should have the biggest outplays. And I will say, like, I ranked Kaka above Fiber, and that's even a testament to I feel like how much Kaka is improved, as Amphis said, in his threats across this split. So you ranked Fiber above Kaka, but I kind of had a little bit more across the 2nd and 3rd event for Kaka for me. But maybe it was just because I was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Scrub getting his maiden number 1 ranking. What an absolute freak. Well deserved. I would call your split, Scrub, like the Manuel Neuer. You were just the best goalkeeper I've ever seen. Like,
goalkeeper?
You were kind of like...
Wait, what?
Spend most of the time in the front half, goalkeeper.
We need some explanation here.
You were in the last regional. You were like that. You know, so like the Scott Sterling video. That was kind of like you, just flying across net, just like keeping it out top bins every single time.
I don't know what you were watching, but that's thank you.
You did do that a lot in the last series. You were making a lot of saves, but I mean, I had Scrub because he was being so he won. He was one of 2 consistent, like absolute consistent players across the split, but he also had standout series. He was my MVP for the 2nd event, despite Banana Heads having such a good grand final. He had that performance against Power in the 2nd event that absolutely rocked them and was probably the most important part towards them not just winning the event, but having a fighting chance for the major. And then was still a standout in event 3 when things were going poorly and Banana Head was struggling, and obviously Tango was filling in. Hunter was struggling in the upper bracket. Scrub was still playing well there. So he, for the most part, he was the best player on their team, and the only reason that they had a chance.
Who puts? What was the next lowest? Because obviously CJ entered, so it doesn't count. Who was...
Next lowest was 5 by Luna.
5.
Luna, Gus. Luna, I know you're watching right now.
Luna did a great ranking last time, and then the next lowest after that was 3. So 3 people ranked him 3. Nobody ranked him 2. So everybody who didn't rank him 3 rated him 1.
Yeah. I know. I thought this power ranking was really interesting.
Yeah.
I thought top 6 could really just be swapped anywhere. Maybe not 6 to 1 and stuff like that, but it was a toss up for almost every one of those positions.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes me proud that, you know, Scrub as
we're not
players,
the same.
Like, because I could never get a number 1. Like, no matter how well I played, I would never get that. But
you had a number 1 for an event.
Yeah. No, weren't you like 4 split like season 11? Like, weren't you like the best player on Renegades?
That's true. That is true. Going into Sweden, I think I had the best 4 split. Yummy agreed with that.
I think you had a best second event of that split.
But regardless, it was never on paper like this, Scrub. And look at this, just as players, you know, this shows just how well you're doing my role. You know what I mean? As the upfront, it's just aggressor.
Did you not win on purpose, Scrub? Or
well, you're Manuel Neuer as well, which is just phenomenal because I was terrible in net. But no, if you can continue this form at the World Championship, you can go places, this team. So keep it up.
Does your play style work internationally, CJ?
My play style, well, Scrub's a different beast, you know.
Reagan would say it does.
I thought we were the same.
Yeah.
Well, we are similar, but you know, you're obviously better because you've got a first up there in the rankings. Best in the region, baby.
I don't think CJ ever had a best of a split, but then again, I don't think I ended up doing it every split in the past. So we've done it every split now for the last 2 seasons, maybe? Definitely this season. But yeah, it's huge from Scrub, from a player that was like hard stuck around the 7 mark. Yeah,
I was like 6, like every ranking, just outside.
Well done, Scrub.
Well done.
Thanks.
I took Hunter taking a vacation. Wow. Maybe you'll. Does that give you confidence going to Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, I switched my controls up, and I don't know, it's been working ever since. So just.
What'd you do?
I switched to Zen controls, regional 2.
Oh, you got double arrow, left and right.
No, I just switched the button from L1 to L2. I guess it's just more comfortable. I don't know.
Wait, doesn't Zen use L2 and R2, like arrow left and right?
No, he uses L2 on arrow left, and then his arrow right is just like square. Or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the dynamic arrow.
So what's your reverse, L1?
No, L2, same thing.
Oh, I used to use both, yeah.
Yeah, the half flipping was the hard part to learn. Couldn't half flip for a while.
Oh, yeah, because you air rolled while you did it.
So CJ, if you were to do your like top 3 at least of the split, who would they be?
Let's start at 3. I'd probably say. Let's not start at 3. Let's start at 1. So I'm going to go Scrub. And then I'm going to go... I think I'd go Scrub, Fiber, and Amphis.
Okay, then who's...
Isn't that what it is? That's amazing.
Good stuff.
Yeah, he just copied.
Don't even change the overlay.
You know, Super Lucky 4 and then Kaka 5.
I'd probably... I'd probably have Kaka at 4. And then at 5, I'd probably put Banana Head at 5, actually.
Okay.
Super Lucky 6.
And then I'll put Super Lucky 6. And then...
Fever 7.
7,
Hunter.
Fever. Well, I probably wouldn't even rank Hunter, to be honest. 8, Torsos. 9... Oh, Finn, 10, Tango. There you go.
Cool.
So I'd throw the same top 3, but I'll probably swap it around there. I'd probably drop down Super Lucky, but I think his teammates really took the reins for a lot of it. But again, it was very well rounded. They are a good him police.
Well, with
So
you
shout out
switching scrub to 1, it makes the not a close race anymore. It makes scrub clear. So
Yeah. Well, scrub was pretty clear. I just feel like you just didn't really make many mistakes, which is weird from players like us, scrub. Like usually we would whip the ball. I'm just kidding. No, it was good. You're performing well. You found your role there. And I think when Tango came in, like you and Banana Head, I think we talked about on the broadcast, but it felt like you two were just like, right, we need to sort of step up. I don't know if it was like a conscious thing you said or you just did it, but it turned you guys into like a super duo, which I hadn't really. Yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of did say that, like, if we lose, we're not blaming Tango. Like, I feel like we know what we're gonna get from Tango. Like, he's a very, very consistent player. It was on Banana Head and I to like play well, and try our best.
Look at that improvement from us, scrub.
That's good
Well
stuff.
yeah, Amphis fell off a little bit there. Torsos fell out and came back. He wasn't even on the list last.
Shores has fell out.
Oh, Shores. But he wasn't on the first one. Misty fell out.
That's unreal that Finns fell out.
Yeah, but like in that winter split, like Power weren't even players, so like it doesn't really count.
Yeah. Wasn't Torsos 11 in that winter split or something, or 12?
Yeah, I think he was 12, yeah. And also, Finn would have probably still been in the top 10, except Fades had such a good third event, so he didn't get as much time to shine as last split, where he was doing everything.
See, this justifies our Fever seasonal rankings, because you look at the split rank, he went 3, 9, 7, and I ranked him 7 or something, so... he has. There you go. It's interesting to see this. This is nice. Keep this up for a second.
Yeah. As a note, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I do plan on doing not like the RLO awards, but like more of a player awards thing. Probably after Worlds, where we give
like an attribute thing.
Yeah, more category based stuff like best striker, best defender, best midfielder, funniest player, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Jim is right, Scrub. You got number 1 and you didn't even make the major. That's the first...
that's why it's a bit like it's like
that goes to show how bad Bittersweet was.
Bittersweet.
Does that goes to show that when you're playing well, it doesn't impact your team?
No, it doesn't matter.
That sucks. The only player to make a top 3 and not a 10 land. Yeah, all the others were the land